Hello, everyone.
Hello.
our... Okay. Hey, y'all. Welcome to
Hello.
our Tuesday live here at In the Beginning. I am Sharnae Johnson, the COO of In the Beginning. And this week, we are going to be talking about the benefits of maintaining accurate financials. And this week, we have our board member who we love dearly. We have Mr. Sam. So we're going to go ahead and get started. And we're going to first let Mr. Sam introduce himself and his background and how financials have taken over his life. So again, we're here at In the Beginning on Tuesday, October 22nd, and we're glad that everyone can join us. And we're thanking you now, Mr. Sam, for joining us as well. And let's get started. So who is Mr. Sam?
Well, thank you. Thank you for allowing me the space. And so let me give a little bit about myself. So hello, everyone. I am a loving husband and father of two wonderful daughters. One away at college as a freshman. I love cooking for my family. I am a QuickBooks Online certified pro advisor with over 20 years in the accounting industry. I worked for a large contractor for about 16 of those years, which I helped grow from about 4 million to 13 million. I value growth, communication, and consistency. As Sharnae said, I'm a board member for ITB. I really believe in how they support entrepreneurs in the community. You guys are truly amazing. I have a bookkeeping company helping small business owners named Rose and Lane. When my parents came to the U.S. from Colombia, they only spoke Spanish. They are the bravest, most loving, and hardest working people I know. But managing finances in a new language was a real challenge. They struggled with paying bills, managing their budget, juggling bills, rent, utilities was tough, especially with fluctuating costs. Paying the water bill every 3 months and dealing with late fees was a constant battle. Not being able to read, write, or speak English made it even harder. Despite working hard and making a decent living, managing finances was difficult for them. Growing up, holidays was financially challenging, and I could see the stress on my parents' faces. So I quickly had to learn how to pay bills and manage their budget, which sparked my interest in accounting. I learned how to I learned how to stay on top of bills. I started to understand their trends, their spending habits, which allowed us to talk about how to better handle their future bills and their needs. I became passionate about managing finances. Um, while working for a large contractor, I noticed many subcontractors face similar issues. They were good in their profession, but struggled managing their business finances and budgeting. Uh, After years of being in the accounting industry, I realized that I could help these contractors and small businesses like I helped my parents, but with bookkeeping. I truly enjoy helping people and accounting, so doing both brings joy to my heart. By the by the way, I still manage my parents' finances to this day. Um, so as the saying goes, if it ain't broke, don't fix
Don't fix it.
it.
Exactly. So this is a great background, and this is definitely your why on why financial literacy is important and why you do what you do. So we always at ITB talk about your why. So Mr. Sam just told everyone his why. And if you don't know, you know why our why is. Ms. Johnson started ITB. Me and myself and Christian, the CSO, have come around, will come to work with her and work believing in her dream and what she really wants this business to really do for the community with gaining financial wealth through your own business and being your own boss and being an entrepreneur. And I just want to shout out ICB too. We had our first class yesterday for our In the Beginning Entrepreneur Academy yesterday. Our first class was entrepreneurship. If you have been on there, if you were on there yesterday, we thank you. We have class again tomorrow for leadership development. So we are excited. We're doing a lot of things at ITB, but tonight we're going to stay focused on the benefits of maintaining accurate financials. And we're going to go ahead and start our PowerPoint. So Mr. Sam, you can take it away.
Okay. So today's focus, the benefits of maintaining accurate financials. So we'll cover communication, the balance sheet, the P&L statement, and the benefits. Okay, so let's go to the next slide here. Communication. Okay. Communication is critical, but what exactly is it? What is communication? It's a process of exchanging information, ideas, or feelings through speaking, writing, or other methods like gestures or digital platform. It involves a sender, a message, and a receiver, with feedback playing a crucial role in ensuring the message is understood correctly. Why is communication so important? Running a business without good communication is like trying to solve a puzzle without all the pieces. Let's put this into perspective. Imagine you walking into the doctor's office with a severe headache, and the doctor needs to know if you have any allergies or are you taking any medications before prescribing you treatment. But for some reason, you can't remember all the details. Do you think the doctor can safely prescribe you medicine?
No, but I
Probably.
can even bring that to real life. In the beginning, when we first started, we had to physically go to family therapy to learn how to communicate better.
Wow,
So
that's
this
awesome.
is communication not only helps with the just everything. And I also feel like when it comes to your financials, people tend to not want to communicate. And I've done it myself. And the reason I'm hosting tonight is because I do the basic bookkeeping for ITB right now. So
Awesome.
when numbers are not as high as I want them to be, and I have an expectation that I know Ms. Johnson is expecting, I will not tell her how much is in the account. And I know it's not right, and we argue about it, but I just that again, communication. And I do this and I'm getting away from it. But when we first started and money was not flowing in as much as we wanted, and we're working hard, but the money is not in the bank account like we would like it, I would tend to just not communicate how much is in there. Or a lot of it was I was thinking that I could fix it myself. Like I was going to go pay the bill myself. And it wasn't that. It was the communication, because most of the time or all the time, if I would have communicated, Ms. Johnson, being that she is the CEO and that's why she's the CEO, said, well, I could have paid it.
Right.
And I just didn't communicate with her. So we need to I took a communication class my last semester of school, and this is literally the same definition: communication. And people, make sure you read this. It says, with feedback playing a critical role in ensuring the message is understood correctly. You have to talk back and forth.
Right. Exactly.
So we're gonna go. If you're done with this slide, we're gonna go ahead to the next slide.
Right.
And yeah, we're gonna go to the next slide. So I just want to make sure we get through all the slides first, because I know we definitely talk, but I want to get through the slides. But I'll just keep interrupting you, so we're fine. Let's go to the next slide.
No, you're right. All good. All right. So the balance sheet is the next slide here. So, so wanted just to, and we were talking about communication, and so your business communicates to you as the business owner, like through the financials. So that's why having financials, accurate financials, is important, because it communicates to you via these financials. So wanted to go over the balance sheet and the P&L to kind of discuss how these all fit into how the company communicates to you its health and potential growth. All right. So the balance sheet, when your financials are accurate, your balance sheet provides a clear picture of your business's financial health, showing your assets, your liabilities, your equity. Your assets is what you have, your liability is what you owe, and your equity is what you own. This report gives you a snapshot of your business financial standing at a specific moment in time. So it's one of the important pieces of the financial statements that are generated on a monthly basis for every business.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and we can slide on to the next one if you're ready.
Okay.
All right, and the next financial statement is the P&L, the profit and loss statement. So the P&L provides an overview of your business's financial performance by showing the revenue, your expenses, and your profit and loss. Your revenue is the various streams of income through your product or services. Your expenses are like your cost of goods sold and your overhead. And then your profit and loss is the difference between your revenue and your expenses. So this essential report helps you understand how well your business is doing over a specific period. So accurate financials communicates to you or business owners your current cash position and your overall business performance, and it also helps you determine if your business is profitable. Okay, we can go on to the next slide here. All right, so the benefits. All right, so what are some of the benefits of having accurate financials? Compliance, filing tax, funding needs, gaining clarity, enhanced growth. Compliance. It ensures that your company complies with state laws and regulations, helps with sales tax and industry specific reporting when applicable. Filing taxes. It makes it easy to file taxes accurate and timely. Funding needs. If it helps get loans approved for business growth opportunities, like if you need to buy a new truck or large equipment. Having your financials is a critical process in getting that loan approved. Um, Gaining clarity, provides crystal clear view of your business's health, and then enhances growth. Well-managed finances pave the way for success and expansion. So these are some of the benefits that having accurate financials provides. But but understanding your financials is where the magic happens. It can be challenging, but it's crucial to analyze your financials to see what's working and what's not. When you review your financials, always ask yourself, what did I hear? What are my financials trying to communicate? If there's an area in your business not performing well, this means that you, as a business owner or the person doing the financials, needs to look into the solution or learn everything you can to address it. So what are some of the things that financials might show you? They might show you that the sales aren't where you want them to be compared to prior periods, or if your expenses are increasing, or if the margins aren't within industry standards, if you're overspending or undercharging for your products or services. By regularly analyzing your financial data, you can uncover issues early, make informed decisions, and steer your business towards growth and stability.
Okay, so let me jump in and ask a question.
Sure.
When would your business have a profit and loss? I'm gonna go back. When would your business have a profit and loss statement? Like, is it regulated on a year of the business, or
Sure. Well,
I
so
know we have one, but just for people that are literally just starting out, what?
no, very, very good question. So both your balance sheet and your profit and loss, you as a business owner, once you start generating expenses and revenue, you should start producing a balance sheet and a profit loss on a monthly basis. In order to produce your profit and loss statement, you're going to need to make sure you do your bank reconciliations. There's other steps involved in getting to being able to run an accurate profit and loss statement, but it should be done on a monthly basis. Generally, it's done once all of the banks and all the credit card accounts have been reconciled. So you generally receive bank statements on like the third or between the third and the fifth of the month. So as soon as those bank statements come in, you do your reconciliations, and you make sure that all your transactions have been recorded, and then then you run your balance sheet and income statement, and then you review your financials from that point. But it should be done on a monthly basis, and you're always reviewing your prior month financials. So when you run your balance sheet and your profit and loss. You're running it for the prior month.
Okay. So when starting a business, does your personal finances matter as well?
No, your personal. That's another great question. No, your personal finances and your business finances should always be kept separate. So if you have, an LLC or any corporate structure, you should keep your personal and your business completely separate. You should not intertwine the two at all. So you should have a business account and you should have your own personal account for your own personal expenses, and minimize as much as possible any personal expenses via your company.
Okay. All right. So you mentioned when you started with your bio that you are a QuickBooks expert, and I run our financials through QuickBooks right now.
Yeah.
And you have helped me a lot through QuickBooks. So I wanted to bring this up because not only are you an expert, and you are one of our board members, and we love that you are a business owner and what you're doing. We try to support as much as we can. So we have referred a particular client over to you. And today we actually spoke to her. And she is a phlebotomist. I'm not going to say her name, but I think the business is ringing a bell to you. So
Yes.
We did speak to her today, and she had nothing short of you were a financial guide to say.
Oh,
So
thank you.
we want to just thank you for helping ITB and doing everything that you do for ITB especially. But I want to get into the QuickBooks because she was so good with just saying how you've supported her. And not only, and this is just a side note for the viewers, ITB is going to start having mentors from our board. Our board members are going to start being mentors to our clients. And Mr. Sam didn't even know he just had a dry course of that because the young lady definitely said Mr. Sam had to talk me down off the edge. And it wasn't just an edge of, oh, my financials are all over the place. It was literally an edge of, I don't even know if I'm going to continue to try to even do this business because I'm getting so much pushback. So that is what we do at ITB, the hand holding, the talking you through these stages. And again, ITB is very transparent with what we're doing. We do not know everything. That's why we are partnered with a lot of people. We resource people out. We have resources to help us and mentors to help us. So you're definitely in good hands at ITB. But when it comes to the QuickBooks, I was referring QuickBooks to everyone before I met Mr. Sam, but when I finally met Mr. Sam and he became on board, it was an easy sale because one, me not knowing any role of being a COO before I became a COO, QuickBooks was the easiest for me to understand, and you can call them easily and speak to a person in America. Right. If they're not from America, their accent is clear enough for you to talk to them and understand what they're telling you to do. Because again, you have to communicate. And if no one is sitting here telling you what to do, you could get audited. You just don't understand everything that comes with it. Yes, you're making money, but are you spending it correctly? Are you getting enough income to cover your expenses of what you're spending? All these things matter. And that goes back to the profit and balance, the profit and loss statement. But for QuickBooks, I always suggest it because it's super easy to use.
Right.
It shows you the profit loss statement. You can put in a time frame that you might need, the full year. And I just want you to explain a little bit more of what all QuickBooks offers when it comes to first-time business owned, startup companies that, again, I've been a chef all this time, and I've been getting cash apps, and I keep the cash app connected to my personal card. But now I came to ITB, and they getting me right, and they said no more cash apps. So what am I supposed to do now? I've opened up my bank account. So is there any other platforms as well as QuickBooks before we would talk about QuickBooks, but any other platforms that you might think that a person could use? Because I know for us, QuickBooks, I don't know what happened, but QuickBooks was one price. It went up, and now it's going back down. It's not still at the beginning price, so I don't know if we got grandfather in, but I'm looking at the statement, Mr. Sam, and I said, okay, we are not spending as much as QuickBooks this month, so what's going on? But again, I'm looking at all of our expenses, and I'm like, okay, what's going on? So the question was all the things that QuickBooks is good for and other platforms that a new startup business could use.
Gotcha. So, other bookkeeping softwares, like Zero, that's a one that other companies use. Some companies don't use QuickBooks or a software. They literally do their bookkeeping on spreadsheets, which, so if they don't have a lot of funding and they're just started, they start with a spreadsheet. QuickBooks, it's a great bookkeeping software. It has you have the ability to connect a lot of different apps to it. They also provide merchant services, so that if for example, if you email someone the invoice via QuickBooks, you have the ability to provide them with links on the invoice that you email them where they could pay directly from the links. So the funds will come directly into your account. So it makes, the whole billing a customer or client, very simplified and quick and easy to use.
Yeah, and let me just a personal in real life. I've sent out invoices, and literally within the next 20 minutes, someone has already paid it, and maybe 20 minutes after that, it's physically in our account.
Right,
and it is a quick turnaround. And
exactly.
Since I'm talking, we do have some questions. So someone asked, "Is there a cost for QuickBooks?" It is, but it's different tiers. And correct me if and when I'm wrong.
No, that is very true. There are different tiers, so there is a cost for the various tiers in QuickBooks. So it all depending on your needs and what type of. So QuickBooks, once they have like Simple Start, Essentials, Online Plus, and each of those different tiers cost a different amount, but provide different options. But there is, I think, the Simple Start is roughly like, I want to say like $35 or so.
I think we were there at one point, and then we had to upgrade to do payroll.
Yeah.
So that went up, but we love QuickBooks. And so can you talk about what was the other platform? Zero? I've never heard of that platform.
So I've seen it. I'm not very familiar with it. I know that there are some businesses that utilize that bookkeeping software. So there's a couple of them out there. QuickBooks has just been the one that's just been, for me personally, the easiest to use. And it's just I really like the ability to pay and ability to get paid and integrate apps and things like that. So they've made it very the entire bookkeeping process. They've tried to simplify it as much as possible with all of its complexity.
Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But so on the slide we have right now, it says filing taxes. So I filed my taxes personally through Intuit TurboTax. So we were going to file our taxes through QuickBooks, through TurboTax, and it was just the basic. It was like $500 to file them through QuickBooks. And I was like, oh my gosh. So of course we didn't use that because that was like too high. But if your business is rolling in the dough like that, you can literally do your taxes through QuickBooks and through Intuit, which is all under one umbrella anyway. So that's just another tad bit for you guys. You can file your taxes through QuickBooks because if you're running your financials through QuickBooks, they have all your everything on there. And we have two accounts currently. Excuse me, we have two accounts currently with two different banks, but we only have one bank account. Is honestly just a savings account. We only put money in there to save it. So we don't really have a lot of things coming out of that account.
Gotcha.
But the one account that we do mostly do all of our spending, that is an account that is set up on our QuickBooks. So I have to physically go in there and put a title to what it was for. If it was supplies, they have it. If you have a car with the company, gas, anything like that, you can literally subtitle and categorize everything on QuickBooks as well, depending on the out. And I have PayPal on our QuickBooks too.
Right.
So we have PayPal and one banking account on there. So if you're using multiple accounts as well, you can all have that feed into QuickBooks. So you really can get a real profit and loss statement of your income, your expenses, and everything. QuickBooks is just great. I just love Quick.
Right. And you know, so they have the one thing that I really like about QuickBooks. Well, I should say one thing, but one of the things I really like about QuickBooks is the bank feeds, because you can connect all your bank accounts, your credit cards. It's a one-way transaction, so it's only receiving information. You can't. It's not gonna pay bills out of the bank feeds. So it only pulls information from the bank so that it'll refresh all your transactions from your bank account into QuickBooks, which minimizes the need for manually entering every single thing. And I want to emphasize on the one-way part, because again, it's not, when you set up bank feeds, money's not being extracted from your account. It's only pulling information only through the bank feeds. And a lot of owners get concerned because they don't want to set up the bank feeds, thinking that you're going to give QuickBooks the ability to pay out of the account, which that's not. You have to get a different type of service to do the accounts payable part. But if you set up your bank feeds, it's only to a one-way transaction of receiving information from your bank account, which helps populate your transactions, and then from there you can record your daily, weekly transactions as they hit your bank account.
Okay, and that is very good. So this is just information.
Yeah.
As you see, I'm wearing the West Virginia shirt. But the CEO, the former CEO of Intuit, is now the president of Marshall, which is the other big university in West Virginia, other than West Virginia University. The only
right.
But that's just an informational tad bit to know that the CEO, the former CEO of Intuit, is now the president of Marshall, which is a university. For ITB, you know, we're heading out to West Virginia and doing stuff with WVU. So we will definitely be hitting up Marshall, even though as an undergrad, we don't like Marshall too much. But for the business, it's a great thing to know. And I think that is very ironic and crazy that that's happening. But yeah, I think everything is going in the direction it's supposed to go, especially for ITB. So is there any more? I didn't want to make sure we hit all your slides. No, that was it.
So just, and you mentioned filing taxes part with QuickBooks. For business owners, that have like their balance sheet and income statement, when you go to do your taxes, you really just need your balance sheet and your P&L, your profit and loss statement. Your profit and loss statement, your tax preparer could look at it and determine any of the items that are going to be deducted. Reduce your tax liability. So your tax preparer will look at your P&L statement and really start to determine what items on there could be deducted from your income taxes. So
I'm sorry, I had to sneeze. Thank you.
Oh, no, okay. No worries.
So when it comes to QuickBooks, how do you assist customers? If someone needs to get on QuickBooks, how will you assist them in that process? Even if they are been in business already, what is the process if someone wanted to ask you to help them, like I always do, instead of calling QuickBooks? How can you help them with that?
Oh, great question. So as a QuickBooks Pro Advisor, we have.
And what does that mean?
That means that we studied how the inner workings of QuickBooks is and how they operate and how their software operates. And we had to, study and take courses and then, pass certain tests to receive that certification. So that just means that we are, versed in how to operate within the QuickBooks ecosystem. So, knowing how to invoice, how to bill, how to categorize transactions, how to set up the bank feeds, how to do everything inside of the QuickBooks ecosystem. But to answer your question in regards to, so if someone wanted to get started with, if they already had QuickBooks and they wanted my help, I would first ask them to invite me into their QuickBooks. So via QuickBooks, they'd be able to give me access to their QuickBooks Online account, and I would be able to look at their all of their bookkeeping inside of QuickBooks. I'd be able to take a look at their bank feeds, their transactions, run reports, help them categorize all of their transactions. If they need assistance with setting up chart of accounts or cleaning up the chart of accounts. So with everything within I'd be able to do their bank reconciliations on a monthly basis. I'd be able to help them with all of these different tasks that are generally bookkeeping tasks.
So merchant services, can we dive into that? What is that? What is a merchant service?
So the merchant services through QuickBooks. So if you set up or if you sign up for QuickBooks Online, it doesn't come with merchant services. So you have to, you have to apply for that, and you have to connect your bank account to their merchant services. So it serves just like PayPal or any of those other merchant service providers, where you're able to receive payments from your customers via credit cards, ACH transactions, and there's fees associated with all the transactions, just like any PayPal or any of the exactly. So, but you would set up an account, and this will what actually when you invoice the customer, it allows the customer to pay via any links on the invoice, so that the payments will go directly into your bank account, making the whole invoice process, much just simplified. Instead of you having to mail a physical invoice and wait for a check to come in the mail, you'll be able to email the invoice, and then, like you said earlier, the money comes in pretty quickly. Not only that, but after you invoice, you're able to see if they open the invoice, and so you're able to look. If you invoice a client, you're able to open that invoice, and you can see if they opened it, if they looked at it, if you need to send them a reminder. But the merchant account allows them to be able to pay on that invoice online. So that's really beneficial.
Merchant service with QuickBooks. I guess I could guess it for merchant service and QuickBooks. How do you set up automatic payment?
Automatic payments.
Mm-hmm.
So for automatic, you'll have to set up a sales receipt, and then on the sales receipt you'll set up reoccurring, and then you'll have to you'll plug in all the information that you receive from your customer. You'll put in the ACH or the credit card, and then you set it up to reoccur on a specific day. And once you complete those tasks inside of QuickBooks, it'll automatically process that payment. And then in those situations, you must have some sort of documentation authorizing you from the client.
Does the customer give me this information willingly, and I give them because I've had I believe I printed out a direct deposit sheet from QuickBooks, and I don't know if that was just for payments for our employees, or could we still send that out to our customers that are people that's in the incubator, that's that monthly fee? Could we send that out to them and they give their information for that, and then we upload into our system, and then that's how we would do the automatic payment on our end?
Well, I would have to take a look at that one. I'm not familiar with that one form, but I would say you would definitely want to have an authorized reoccurring payment form so that you know, they once they sign off on it, you have that on records, you know, indicating that you are authorized to process reoccurring payments for this specific person or client or customer or board member.
You're
But
right.
yeah, but yeah, absolutely. So, and again, that's one of the great things about QuickBooks, that you can set up these reoccurring payments with you know, if you have a client or a customer or board member that is, you know, paying the same amount every month, you could set it up so that you don't have to manually do these tasks. The less manual tasks, the better. The more that you can
Right.
automate these tasks, the better. The better everything will be, you know, run. The smooth things will run. And if you automate these tasks, you know, all that it is, you just need to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to, and double checking them, always double checking them, even if they're automated. But you know, that does simplify your you know, those tasks. And especially if you have, you know, a large group of board members, and you know, you want to process reoccurring fees for all of them. You know, that would be a great tool. It'll help minimize, it'll help save you time, and it'll help get the job done all at the same time. So
Right. And once the business starts picking up, you're going to need everything to be as streamlined as possible, especially if it's a small employee base right now. You guys are going to be doing 10 different things at one time. So as much streamlined as possible with any system that you use starting out is what's needed. So I have another question. What is the difference between single entry and double entry systems?
well, so uh, single entry systems. I'm not so we bookkeeping in the U.S. is a double entry system. So there's always a debit and a credit, or there's two. It's always two sides. So, you know, so when you're doing a transactions, for example, if you like on the back end of, and this is what QuickBooks does on the back end.
Mm-hmm.
If you, let's say you're a flooring company and you purchase material, the double entry accounting system, when you record that transaction that you purchased that item, it's gonna credit the bank account to reduce your bank account, the funds in your bank account, and then it's gonna debit the expense account. It's showing that the expense increased. So double entry is going to show your debits and credits. There's always two sides of the transaction for every transaction. So it's not going to be one-sided transaction. It's always a two-sided transaction. And you know, there's, depending on what transaction you're dealing with, it's going to hit various functions within the balance sheet or the income statement.
Okay. All right. So what is the difference between accounting and bookkeeping?
That's a that's a great question. So the bookkeeping is more the day to day, the recording the transactions, the reconciling bank accounts, the making sure, you know, setting up the chart of accounts, and making sure that, you know, that the information inside of the balance sheet and the income statement is accurate. Um, and serving its purpose. And accounting is more of the overview of like they tax planning. They do more of the overview. They're not into the day to day. So your accountant wouldn't do your bank reconciliations. Your accountant wouldn't produce your monthly balance sheet and P&L or financials. But what they would do is they would look over your financials with you, and they would tax strategize. They might even be the one that would do the tax preparing for you. So they're more on the overview aspect of the business, as opposed to the bookkeeper, which is the day to day.
Okay. So do you need any certifications to be a bookkeeper?
As of right now, no, you don't need a certification to be a bookkeeper in the U.S. So there's not like for an accountant. Yes, you would have to um, you know take some classes and and pass some tests to be a CPA. But for bookkeeping, no.
Okay. So does your business need both? Do you need a bookkeeper and accounting for your business?
Um, it's a good idea to have both. It's a good idea to have a bookkeeper so that they can do the day-to-day transactions, um, and they can make sure that everything is accurate and correct, and help review and analyze the information. Um, and it's good to have an accountant to help with tax strategizing and an overview and planning of things of that nature. So it's, so they're, and again, they might be the person that actually does the tax preparing for you. So it would be beneficial to have both. Absolutely.
Right. Okay. All right. So we've talked about a lot of things, and I have Mr. Sam's contact information on the screen right now. So if you need any help with your bookkeeping and just the general financials of what you're doing in your business right now, his contact information is on the screen. And I just want to, we're almost getting down to the end, and this has been great so far. So I just want to, what would be some great and good financial advice for a small business starting out if they didn't see our webinar tonight?
Gotcha. No, that deciding to go with this, a software and just, getting as much knowledge and information about bookkeeping if you're not going to hire one. That way you can set it up properly, you can set it up correctly. You can put your chart of accounts together, which is the roadmap of how all the transactions are going to fall into place. Making sure that you set up how you want your balance sheet and income statement to look. And once your business gets started and rolling, and you start incurring expenses and income, you're able to capture this information in a way that'll become useful for you, and it'll become a tool that you'll utilize to help monitor and grow your business. So bookkeeping, it's not just, it's a requirement for if you start a business, to file taxes and things of that nature. But it's also a tool that will be used so you can analyze, monitor, and use it for growth. So having, for someone, just getting in and starting, learn as much as possible about setting up your chart of accounts, your balance sheet, your income statement, and getting it together so that you can use it as a tool.
All right. So you mentioned earlier about merchant services, which was you named PayPal. So what about customers using Cash App? Would you advise them to use Cash App instead of opening up a business banking account? And we had Emmanuel on here, so he definitely gave his about how many accounts you should have. This account should be for that, but we didn't really get into Cash App and using Cash App. Is that a good source? Is that a good merchant service? Honestly, I feel like other than using it for family and friends, you should not use Cash App for your business, but that's my personal feeling. Do not quote me. That's what I think. Only Sharnae Johnson. And I just don't think that you should. But people do that because, again, some people have just been doing a business and it could have been a hobby that they make money from it. But now they're like, well, I really want to do this full time. I don't want to work my full time job anymore. And I just want to do my catering company. And I really want to make it a company. But I get all my food orders through Cash App. And again, you have to start somewhere. So I get you starting from somewhere. But when you're trying to grow, I know they have penalties in Cash App. I know personally, just from spending money, from sending money and stuff from friends and family, you do get a tax form from Cash App.
Right.
So when you're doing and getting so much income from Cash App because you are using that because it's quick and easy, could you use QuickBooks have easy access as low as Cash App and other things like that, like Square and things like that. I know you can put the Square in your phone, and then I think sometimes they have it now. It's an app, and you can do things. Is there other sources that you could get your money as soon or as quickly as Cash App without it being Cash App, and it just looks better in business, if that makes sense?
Right. And no, this is a very good question. So, one of the things that, I always like to look at in these situations for any business owner, any of my clients, is the expense aspect. What are these merchant service providers charging you for the different type of transactions that you're going to be dealing with? Are they going to be on the higher end? Because when it's all said and done, if these merchant services are going to be charging you a higher fee to help collect your money for you, then it eats away at your profit. So you
Right.
want to minimize that. And so, part of what you always want to do is do a little bit of research in regards to the various platforms so you can identify which one is cost effective for you. Not only that, but also which integrates with what software and what you're doing the best. So if certain ones integrate with websites better than others. So if you have a website that have the ability to accept payments through, then you'll want to work with one that integrates well with websites and that
Mhm.
has a decent fee that it's going to charge you. So there's a couple of things to consider when trying to take some of these different merchant providers. I stay away from Cash App, so I wouldn't recommend Cash App. Square, or the QuickBooks Merchant Services is actually your QuickBooks Merchant Services is their fee that they charge is very competitive to all of the other merchant services. So,
Mhm.
they're I like their ACH fee is not as expensive as some of the other ones. So that is, I see that as there's a need to have it, and then it's not as expensive as other places. So I'm minimizing that cost that I'm going to incur.
Right.
So for me, that helps me determine what I'm going to use for my business, and then I look at clients and how they're using it to help give them suggestions on what they're going to use. But I would say QuickBooks has one of the most competitive merchant service providers, so I always like to use theirs.
Okay. That's good to know. That is good to know. So I didn't you told us about your background, but how long have you been in business at Rose and Lane LLC? Rose and
Uh,
Lane. Excuse me. Rose and Lane.
so now a little bit over a year doing the bookkeeping for small businesses. But like I said, I've been in the accounting industry for over 20 years, and I just I love accounting. I it's just I zone in and just plug away, and I'm in a happy place.
Good. So I have a question. Can banks offer merchant services?
um, so banks don't necessarily offer merchant services. For example, um, like QuickBooks. I'm going to use QuickBooks as an example. If you, let's say, you want to make a payment, you can write a check, or you can use your debit card, your business debit card, to pay a vendor or go purchase material. Um, if through banks, they have their online payment system, so you can make your bank bill pay, so you can make payments through your bank. So when you log into your bank account, their bank bill pay is where you can make payments. It's essentially, and most of them are like a check that they'll cut to a vendor and if they're connected to that vendor, it might be an ACH, but it's more so cutting a check to someone or a vendor through your bank bill pays, but they don't have merchant services. You'll have to go to like Square or some a different type of merchant service provider.
Okay. All right. I have another question. Oh, okay. All right. So since we are still on, and when I think I'm gonna go back to your slide because I just want to make sure that we didn't miss
Sure,
anything.
sure, absolutely.
So, especially for your balance sheet. So, I've seen so do you create your own balance sheet or would QuickBooks make that for you?
Well, you would, so when you first set up QuickBooks, you would select the different categories that are going to populate your balance sheet and your P&L. So you are essentially going to be, indicating your different asset accounts, your different liability accounts, your different equity accounts. So the different type of accounts that you set up within your QuickBooks, um, in the chart of accounts is what's going to be. So your chart of accounts is where you set up all of the different types of accounts, your registers, for your balance sheet and your P&L. So your chart of accounts is very important, and setting it up properly is what helps you make sure that your balance sheet, it is the way you want it to look.
So, what's the difference between your assets and your equity?
So your assets is like what you own. So like for example, a bank account would be an asset.
Okay.
If you have accounts receivable, that's considered an asset. Your inventory or fixed assets. So it's what you own is your assets, something that's going to provide a future economical profit from. And your equity is that's like your retained earnings, or you, for example, owner's draw. So if you small business owner, you decide to pay yourself, that's where you would record your payments on the equity side. So you would show your retained earnings, and then you'd also in that same equity section is where you would reflect your owner's draws as well.
Okay. And you just brought up something to my attention. When you're starting out and money is not flowing as much, when should you pay yourself? Because I've heard you should pay yourself, especially as a entrepreneur and as a small business, you need to pay yourself something. So when does it make a difference when, or for tax purposes, like you need to pay yourself, but even if you paying yourself just $100, I don't know. Can we like, what information do you have about or suggestions when it comes to paying yourself through your business and your employees, or just paying yourself, and how does that all work? Because I know it seems simple, just pay yourself. No, it's not that easy, especially when you
Right.
don't have a lot of money coming in, and this is literally your only job. Your business is your source of income right now, and you have to grind and get the income and get the your sales and stuff up more. But you still, for tax purposes and things like that, does it matter when you pay yourself? What is what's the importance of paying yourself, and like how early in the business should you be doing that?
No, no, this is a great question. So a business is an investment, right?
Right.
So and when you, as you're working within your business, especially at first, you're not going to see that type of return or profit on it right away. So you want to make sure that you have funds in your account to make sure that you're paying for your monthly expenses, your overhead. So your if your materials, your office materials, your insurance, anything that's your website, your phone, electric, or if you have any electric or any of those utility bills that you pay on a monthly basis, you want to make sure that you can cover those expenses when you're first starting out.
Right.
So you want to, so I always suggest just make, if you start receiving, if you're starting out and you start receiving revenue, make sure you have enough funds to pay for the bills that you're gonna, always take a look at, if you know if you're if make sure you have at least 6 months worth of your monthly expenses in your bank account. After that, you can start paying yourself a good amount, and then 40%, depending on your business type and your expenses. But like I said, I recommend making sure that you have enough to pay for your monthly expenses. You'll want to, generally speaking, you'll want to have around like 6 months worth of, you'll want to build up so you can have 6 months just in case you run into a dry spell and you don't have enough. You don't want to just pay yourself and then run into a situation where you
Right.
gotta pour you gotta go to your personal bank account and put money back into the business because you paid yourself too much and there wasn't enough revenue coming in the next couple of months. So
right.
But again, it's an investment. So at first you're not going to make as much. You're looking at it as you're pouring in, so that in the future, there's going to be a return in your investment.
Right.
Not an instant return on the investment. And sometimes people get in business and instantly they're just rolling, and making things happen. And that's awesome. But when not, you got to be a little bit conservative. Make sure you're building up that, enough to make sure that you cover those expenses. And then after that is when you can start, paying yourself and feeling comfortable about paying yourself and things of that nature. But
right. But another aspect about that is paying yourself with QuickBooks. When you do run payroll, it's super easy to understand how to run it. And the good thing about QuickBooks is it shows you the salaries, or shows you how much you're going to be paying to the employees. And then it shows you your taxes. And we actually, our first time running payroll, everybody got paid. And you literally can go on there, and it could be a Tuesday and you say, okay, I want to get paid tomorrow. It is accessible. You can do things like that. It's very friendly. But when it comes to the taxes, it paid everybody out. And again, I'm not knowing anything about this. The taxes did not come out when the payroll money came out. So when you're running your payroll for the first time through QuickBooks, set aside, and this is why you should or can have two different accounts. And literally, it is very smart to have two different accounts and just have one account just for payroll. You put that money aside in there, or have it direct deposited, however you need to set it up. If it's through the same account, have that money set aside to another account, and have it where, okay, we've been running payroll. This is everybody's full amount of their payroll, and account for those taxes, because they'll run and take your money out to pay everybody, but they might come back a week later and take out your taxes.
Right.
So just be mindful of that when you are running payroll with QuickBooks. I only know QuickBooks. Just be mindful of that, because again, everyone will get paid, but then you'll be like, oh, well, I still have money left. No, you don't. You didn't account for your taxes. And this is only from a learned experience. And you just need to be careful with that, because you could get caught up with taxes. No one wants to get audited, and you just don't want to play with your taxes. So give it a week span, or like I said, just set up two different accounts. So you can just run totally only payroll and just keep enough in there so they don't charge your account or anything like that. But it is smart, as Emmanuel said, have a few different accounts, because honestly, you do need different accounts for different things. One account with the office, we have a lot of office supplies. We make a lot of copies, things like that, binding business plans, things like that. We do just go to the store and get stuff and use that card. That's okay. We have a savings account, and we'll have someone asked, who is Emmanuel? Emmanuel is one of our board members who is our banking. He works in banking. So he is our banking guru that we always call on for banking, things like that. And he will be heading over our CDFI once we get that established more, to put more information about that out for ITB and for our clients and things. But Emmanuel is a board member, and he's our banking guru. But I think we are getting down in time. So I just want to make sure that everyone knows that we are here in the beginning. And if you have any questions for Sam, here is his name. And here's his information if you ever need to reach out to him for any of your bookkeeping questions. Just to protect everybody, if you do want to ask Sam any questions and you are afraid to communicate, you could call ITB. We can write you up a MOU so information can be kept between you guys. There's no reason at this day and age where you can't communicate about your business and feel like someone's going to take your idea or he's going to be talking about your financials with anybody. No,
Right.
no. That's not, he's not telling us anything because look, I don't want to give him our financials as and we don't even have to worry. We have the MOU and everything. And I'm still hesitant on giving our financials up. So I get it, but for growth, you have to be uncomfortable, and that's the only way you grow. You have to be able to give out the information and get the criticism back so you can be better. So again, if you want to contact Mr. Sam, his information is here. If you need an MOU, give us a call. We can help with that process. Or Mr. Sam can say, hey, can you write one up? We are here to help. So it doesn't matter who you ask. If that's what you feel comfortable having, please do so by asking Mr. Sam, and he can ask us to draft it up. Or you could call us yourself and get one. And here is our number here at In the Beginning. And we are located here in Richmond at 919 East Main Street in Richmond, Virginia. And Mr. Sam is actually in Maryland.
Yes.
I can't even say that. Mr. Sam is not here in Richmond, but he can still service you wherever you are. So again, here's our number, 804-468-8141. And here's my email. If you need anything from me or anything from In the Beginning, give me an email, give me a shout out, and I can help you as soon as I can. And here is our website. If you need to reach us or contact us about the entrepreneur, this will be our last week, and this will be our last week getting students. So if you're not signed up, Friday is your last day to sign up for the Entrepreneur Academy. So please keep that in mind. It is on our website. If you still want to sign up, this week is our introduction week to your teachers, to Canvas that was given to us, will partner with us with Langston University. So we thank them and shout them out. So Friday is the deadline, people. If you haven't gotten on to Canvas and gotten signed up for the Entrepreneur Academy, Friday is your last day to do so. If not, we will see you next year for that. It's the second cohort of the Entrepreneur Academy. And we also will be having a youth winter break academy for our young entrepreneurs, 15 to 21. That will be on winter break, and that is going to be Monday, December 30th, and Tuesday, December 31st, right before New Year's. It's from 10 to 3. Lunch will be served, and it's only $25 for your youth. So if you know somebody that's doing nails, doing hair, a fashion designer, anything entrepreneurship at this young age, this great mind is here to be shaped and get the information early so they will not make the mistakes that us older people have made in our business. They can know a lot more than we did and just do better. So that is on our website as well. Again, inthebeginningco.com. We are here if you need any business plans, websites, logos, procurement and contracts with the city, the state, grants, HR packages. We're here for every business need you need. And if we don't have it, we have a resource that does. And we do not do bookkeeping. So that's why we call him Mr. Sam. So if there is no more questions, and I'm looking one more time before we head on out, I don't see any more questions. So I'm Sharnae Johnson, the CEO of In the Beginning. It has been a pleasure to meet with everyone tonight. And again, we thank Mr. Sam for coming on. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sharnae.
You guys have a great night. God bless. And we'll see you next week. Have a good night.
Have a good one. Have a good night.